Hello and welcome to the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series, live tonight for the penultimate race here in the championship playoffs. We are here live tonight from ISM Raceway in Phoenix, Arizona for 156 laps, the final race in the round of 8, and 4 contenders will make their way to the playoffs championship round in Homestead, Miami. And it's going to be a good one here tonight. We saw quite a rough race last night in the National Series, and we'll see if these guys can get a few more green flag laps in. But it's going to be chaotic. There's a lot on the line, but let's give you a quick preview of what you're going to see on the racetrack here tonight, and then we're going to cut to qualifying after that. That is a preview of what you're going to see here tonight from ISM Raceway. These guys putting on a great show week in and week out. And right now the drivers are in qualifying, but we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors here tonight, Alpha Ornamental Metals. We solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron, and also home of the Streamline Railing. They are located in Chesterfield, Virginia. And you can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Alpha Ornamental Metals, and want to thank them for sponsoring this series. And also want to give a big shout out to Rapid Fired Pizza for being the associate sponsor here, as Chad Kenningsman, who won a few weeks ago at Talladega, currently on top of the boards here over Rob Jenkins, who just completes his lap in that number 19 Joe Gibbs racing machine, on his second flyer lap right now, seeing if he can improve his time. But we have a lot to go over here. This is the last race in the round of 8, an elimination race, and only 4 will advance, but 2 of them already locked in, Jonathan Hernandez and Alex Pelican, with their wins at Martinsville and Texas. And they are going to Homestead no matter what happens here. But those last few positions, or last 2 spots, definitely going to be contested among the rest of the drivers. We have a total of 41 points separating 3rd through 8th. So nobody is safe, assuming all drivers are starting here tonight. And just looking down through the leaderboard, it looks like Justin Carey is here, Jacob Schwarba, Brian Pizzakemi is here, Eric Wineland is here, Chris Echeper as well, and Brandon Andrews is also here. He currently sits 4th on the qualifying grid. But yeah, 1 point separating Brian Pizzakemi and Eric Wineland right at the cut line, which means that they are going to really be fighting tooth and nail for every single position they can get here tonight. That 1 point makes all the difference, and it's going to be an interesting one to see if those 2 can figure this out, and who's going to go to Homestead and who is not. And is it going to be one of the other drivers possibly taking a win here and locking themselves in? But who is to say? It's such an interesting racetrack here in Phoenix, Arizona, And a lot of drivers like this place. A lot of them don't like it. But either way, it's going to be a good show. Taking a look at our track conditions here tonight. 81-degree air temp and 98-degree track temp. So definitely a pretty warm one here as the drivers now headed to the grid on the racetrack. Let's go through our starting grid here tonight as they are getting lined up here on the pit lane. Let's take a look. Starting on the pole, Chad Ginnigsman, that number 22 Penske Racing machine, going to lead the field to the green flag here. Rob Jenkins rolling off in the second spot. So good lap there by Rob, who is filling in here tonight in that number 19 machine. On row number 2, Jonathan Hernandez, who's locked in to the championship round, rolling off third. Brandon Andrews trying to fight his way in. He's going to be rolling off in the 4th position. Christopher White starting in 5th. Nicholas Starling going to be rolling off in the 6th position. Taylor Butcher Benjamin starting in the 7th spot. And Alex Pelican, who is also locked in, going to be rolling off in 8th here. Starting 9th is Dusty Applin. And rounding out the top 10 will be Matt Cherry, once again filling in that number 9 machine. Richard Springer starting in 11th here. Kavaya Holt starting in 12th. Eric Wineland going to be rolling off 13th. Spencer Tart starting in the 14th position. Jacob Shorba going to be rolling off from 15th here. Brian Pitskemi, who's outside in the 16th position. Chris Etcheper rolling off 17th. And Alex Link going to be starting in the 18th position. Ryan Strunk starting in 19th here. Tonight, Justin Carey going to be rolling off in the 20th position. Tim Williams starting in 21st. Cody Jordan going to be rolling off in 22nd. Zach Smith starting in 23rd. Chris Hansen going to be starting 24th. James Love rolling off 25th. Frank Weinset starting in 26th. And that is going to do it for our field here. Just 26 drivers taking to the grid. And at the front, Chad Ginnigsman waiting to get things rolling here so we can get underway. But we want to thank you for tuning in. Once again tonight, this is V-Speed. My name is Adam Baker, and I'll be guiding you through all the action here tonight in playoff race number 9, the penultimate race of the season. The Mustang pace car gets rolling, and these drivers chomping at the bit to get moving here. And we will have to see how things go tonight. Hopefully a few less cautions. I think we had about 15 cautions last night in a 100-lap race, but it's going to be 156 laps here, and our stages will be separated as follows. Going to be lap 45, the end of stage 1, lap 90, the end of stage 2, and the end of the race, of course, lap 156, which should probably change the title of the race there to reflect what tonight's event is going to be. And there we go, 156 laps in this race. Sponsored by Alpha Ornamental Metals. Chad Ginnigsman leading the field out of turn number 4, and we are underway. Green flag in the air. We're here at ISM Raceway. Chad Ginnigsman gets out to a 3 or 4 car length lead out in front of the field. The number 19 machine trying to drop in line as Ginnigsman almost tags the wall. But looking at the chaos back here, Christopher White to the inside of Alex Pelican. Christopher White hanging on to the 6th spot. Pelican trying to reel him in. Gets a great run out of the corner, and here comes Matt Cherry looking to take it 3 wide. And we're going to bring up our ticker here so you can follow along with your favorite driver throughout the event. And now we are 3 wide. Oh, the 14 machine right there in the middle. Richard Springer almost made contact with the 27 of Dusty Applin. And the 27 way up by the wall here, just trying to stay out of everybody's way at the moment. But the 9 of Matt Cherry starting to go backwards now to the 12th position. He got really loose out of turn 4 there. And he's going to let his teammate Brian Pitskemi just pass right through. As we see the 51 of Alex Link wash up the racetrack just a little bit there. He races side by side with the 41 machine. Heading down into turns 3 and 4. This group of race cars fighting it out just outside the top 10. While at the front, Chad Ginnigsman is your leader, but Jonathan Hernandez to the 2nd spot. That 88 Tide Pods machine starting to move forward here already. And can't see who that is out in front of Ginnigsman. But there is a car already well behind. That is Kavaya Holt, the number 34 machine. He must have started from the pit lane, missed the green flag, and he already has some damage, so actually might have been involved in something early on, as he does have the right front damage. So maybe bounced it off the wall, and he is well behind and also well off the pace, about a second a lap, as Gettingsman reeling him in here. And remember to cheer on your favorite driver in the chat so we can follow along with them throughout the race, and also who you think is going to win tonight's event. And also, if you are tuning in for the first time here, we just implemented a cool system, and you can actually earn rewards for watching. If you type in exclamation point points, you can see how many V-Speed rewards you've gotten, and we're going to be coming up with a little system for you to be able to redeem those rewards. But just a little bit of loyalty rewards for tuning in each and every race. We appreciate everybody out here. The 42 of Brandon Andrews, that Hendrick Auto Guard machine, up to the 4th position here. Actually, right where he started. And Brandon looking for some pretty solid points here if he can finish the stage up inside the top 5. But continuing to race under green. These guys doing a great job here so far. So we look on with Cody Jordan, that number 47 machine, racing it up with Dusty Applin. Now the 47 peaks down low. 27 gets a good run through the center of the corner, so Cody's not able to get that position or be able to attack really now out of turn 4. All lined up through the field. The 27, such a wide arc through that corner. It looks like there goes the 47 now, as the 27 of Applin nearly tags the wall. And Cody Jordan will complete that pass, so move him to the 15th position. Just outside the top 10, though, Richard Springer, the 14, get passed up by Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and now the 11 goes to the inside of Alex Pelican. And I'm not sure if Alex just kind of riding things out here. He's been so good on the short tracks. Maybe some connection problems, and that's why he's getting out of the way. At the front, though, Jonathan Hernandez has taken the lead away from Chad Genningsman, and he is just driven away. Now almost a second ahead of Rob Jenkins, as Chad Genningsman going to the 3rd spot. Maybe he's already burned up the tires. He was well slower than those top 2 the last time by. It was 0.3 slower, and obviously that was enough for Hernandez to get there. Christopher White battling it out with Eric Wineland, and Eric currently out in front of his playoff challenger, Brian Pizzakemi. Pizzakemi not in the points-paying positions for the end of the stage here. And he only needs 1 point to be able to get there, as he's starting to reel in the 14 of Richard Springer, the 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and the 43 of Nicholas Starling. And Nicholas now to the outside, the 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, trying to dive down through that dog leg and get in there and challenge for the 9th position, or 8th position rather. They go side by side down the front straightaway. Now Butcher Benjamin still working down low into turn number 1. And caution gonna fly on the racetrack. Not sure who that was. Let's take a look. Possibly the 37 machine of Chris Hansen. Maybe some others. Dusty Applin with some damage. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. It looks like it was the 27, the 9, the 77. And that sent Applin around. Matt Cherry also going around. He's got heavy damage. Was really struggling early on here, but gets turned up into the outside wall with the, well, actually didn't hit the outside wall, just kind of got hit on all sides. That Lowe's number 9 definitely in rough shape in the early going here, but Dusty Applin able to drive away. He has seemingly minor damage on the front end, but not going to help him with the lower horsepower that they're running here. Meanwhile, Jonathan Hernandez will bring the field down pit lane. And we'll have to see if anybody stays out. Looks like Lucky Dog driver is going to be Kavaya Holt. So he'll get back onto the lead lap, and that will mean everybody's still on the lead lap here, 16 laps into it. As everybody into their boxes nicely. And Jonathan Hernandez is going to win the battle off of pit lane. So good job there by Jonathan to get back out in front. That car looks very good here in the early goings of this race. He's looking for his second win in the round of 8 here, and really just trying to close off any extra competitors who might have a shot to lock themselves in with a win. He's trying to take it for himself, and who can blame him? That is definitely the point of coming out here to race. You want to win. But pace car lights are still on. We're going to hear a quick word from our associate sponsor here tonight, Rapid Fired Pizza. Works across the start finish line. Pace car lights turn off here, and we'll be going green once again. Just a quick recap: one caution so far. This is just our first one here. Just the one lead change between Chad Genningsman and Jonathan Hernandez. Genningsman with an issue there around lap 10, I think, and Jonathan Hernandez was able to slip on past, as well as Rob Jenkins. So Hernandez out in front. He has led 9 laps. Going to be coming to 10 laps led here. After starting in the 3rd position, he definitely has a strong race car. His teammate in the number 9 of Matt Cherry is the only driver off the lead lap, but he is back with the field here, and we do have a couple drivers on the pit lane. The 34 of Kavaya Holt, as well as the 27 of Dusty Applin. They get rolling now onto the back straightaway, but green flag back in the air. Jonathan Hernandez gets the field back up to speed. Rob Jenkins gonna try and hang on to second. Here comes Chad Genningsman off the line, trying to get down low and see if he cuts down through the dog leg very much here. Not all the way down like we've seen before. And the 19 gonna be able to run that high line and keep the momentum. Hang on to second position. 42 of Brandon Andrews trying to move forward here. He's got Eric Wineland right behind him, and Wineland looking for every point that he can possibly get, along with Brandon Andrews. Both those drivers on the outside looking in as they go now 3 wide. Eric Wineland gonna back out of it and try and stay out of trouble here. He stays behind his teammate in that 22 Pennzoil machine. And right now racing out side by side though, Brandon Andrews not giving an inch, and he's going to take over the 3rd position. Let's see if he shuts the door on Genningsman. Not able to do so on turn entry, but wringing every ounce of power out of that Camaro that he can, and he'll take it out in front of Genningsman. So the 42 moves to 3rd spot. Here comes Eric Wineland now to the outside of his teammate. Chad obviously struggling here in the early going after starting on the pole. He has done nothing but go backwards. Now under pressure from Spencer Tart, who goes to the outside. He'll drive right on around, and Chad just not sure if he's just taking it easy or what's going on, but he has really struggled. Here comes the 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin to the outside. And he'll swing it up wide, and we've got a car down low on the apron. That looks like the 27 of Dusty Applin bringing it back down the pit lane. Currently 3 laps down, going to be 4 laps down here in probably a few moments. At the front, though, Jonathan Hernandez setting a rapid pace. And currently, very dominant race car is Rob Jenkins nearly tags the wall out of turn 4. He's really pushing that race car to try and keep up with the 88, but it is not working as Hernandez has pulled away now to a 1-second lead and continues to drive away. Brandon Andrews about another second back from Jenkins. He's out in front of Spencer Tart, as well as Eric Wineland. Driver that we were looking for to gain some points here in the first stage. He has gone backwards. Pizzacchemi started 16th. He is back to 21st. And it looks like maybe an issue for Chris Etcheper, who's in the wall. Maybe some broken steering. He's way up by the wall. Let's see what happened here. I think he just, got sideways coming out of turn 4, not able to hang on to it, slams the outside wall. Everybody drives past, no caution on the racetrack. And he will drop all the way to the 21st position after being up near the top 10. Hanging on to the 10th spot, but battling it out with Ryan Strunk here. Nicholas Starling. 77 down low. Strunk with a little bit of left rear damage, I think, from that first set of incidents. And the 43 going to be able to hang on to that spot. He'll go down and clear himself in turns 1 and 2, but the 77, a pretty good run down low. Just not strong enough to get there and challenge, as he is now fighting with Tim Williams, who goes around on the high side. So the 77 just gonna let those two race it out. Now he drops to the 12th spot. And at the front, Hernandez still 0.8 of a second out in front. And he has Kavaya Holtz right there up in front of him. Not too far out in front. We'll see if that affects the aerodynamics, but Hernandez looks like he is backing up now. So Rob Jenkins has shaved a couple tenths off. That time by, though, Hernandez a tenth faster. So he's able to gain all that back down the front straightaway. And now pulls the gap to over 1.1 seconds. So just either a bad set of corners for Jenkins. As Jacob Shorba, who's also, he's got to be careful with his points here. He's only 10 above the cut line in that 3rd position in points, and he came into the playoffs very strong with 2 wins to close out the season, and has been pretty quiet since then. He's had some decent runs, I think a couple top 5s, but not quite the strength that we saw there at that point in the season, and he's really just, I think, tried to run smooth and consistent, and sometimes being mid-pack has gotten him caught up in things that were not his fault. So we'll have to see if he can get out of there and make his way towards the front tonight. As everybody pretty much single file here, Chad Ginningsman dropping all the way to 8th position on this run, and only about 15 to go at the end of the stage. Now 14 to go. And Hernandez once again stretching away 1.6 seconds a gap, and he has caught Kavaya Holt just about 8 to 10 car lengths out in front of him. Rob Jenkins, this is the view out the front of that race car. It's quite a long ways, 1.8 seconds around here. It's a good portion of the racetrack as he cuts it down through the dogleg trying to gather as much time back as he can, but not really working for him here, as he is about 3/10 a lap slower than Jonathan Hernandez. Eric Wineland now up to the 3rd spot. He is closing in. Actually one of the fastest on the racetrack, so keep an eye on that number 12. He's coming through the field now, up 10 positions from where he started. And he is going to put himself inside the playoff picture with a solid run in stage 1 here. But it all is going to depend on if he can run this whole thing out. He kind of did the same thing last week. Very strong first stage and second stage, I think, but got into some trouble after the midway point and was not able to recover. Let's take a look here at Alex Link, another driver who's been very strong here in recent memory, and is currently riding in 18th. Kind of expected him to be up a little bit closer to the front, but maybe just riding it out here. Still just about a 1/5 of the way through the race. As they go side by side in front of him, Alex Pelican struggling here in the early going. I have a feeling he is just biding his time and waiting for the wrecks to happen so he can make his way through. But going the wrong direction at the moment. Now getting by Zachary Smith. I think Alex is having connection issues, though. That may be another reason he is back here. As positions 8 and 9 change hands. Oh, the 96 bounces off the wall there. Tim Williams coming out of turn 2. Slams that right front quarter panel and down through the dog leg. Luckily, plenty of racetrack there to gather it up. And Rob Jenkins has continued to fall. Jonathan Hernandez out to a 3.7 second lead. And Eric Wineland now closing in just 8/10 the gap between those two. And Wineland the fastest on the racetrack last time by. So if he could get closer to your leader, Jonathan Hernandez, I think that he could potentially maintain with him, but it remains to be seen if anybody can even get back up there. Somebody who's going the wrong way, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, just ran a 27-second lap. Slower than anybody in the top 15. Not sure what just happened there, but that time by, he gets back under the 27-second mark and starts closing back in on Christopher White. Chad Genningsman, though, back up to 8th. So I'm not sure what happened. Richard Springer with an issue possibly. He has gone the wrong direction and heavy contact to the right front. As he's battling with Jacob Shorba, and Shorba in 12th, trying to close in here. His position right now would not earn him any points at the end of this stage, so he needs to try and find something here in these next few laps, as Eric Wineland is about to gain about 7 points, and then Brandon Andrews also going to gain 6 points. 5 or 6 points, so those guys having a great first stage. Meanwhile, Brian Pitskemi back here at 17th. He is just getting back to where he started, battling with Alex Link. And Pitskemi just, he's done this basically every race, kind of runs in the back on purpose, I think. And yeah, just unable to move forward at the moment. He really needs these points. If he saw it where he was in the playoff picture, I think you know, he might be pushing harder. I'm not sure he knows exactly what the status is with the other drivers. As he now goes to the inside of Alex Link, going to try and take that spot away. But Hernandez here, going to be 2 to go at the line to the end of stage number 1, and he has just dominated to this point, leading 35 of the 43 laps. Chad Genningsman led the first 8, but he has just gone backwards here, while his teammate Eric Wineland has continued his march forward, now putting pressure on the back bumper of Rob Jenkins, and this would be huge for Eric to be able to capture this spot away from him. This is another point that could contribute to his playoff hopes. Now on the back bumper, about a car length and a half, the difference between these two. And Jenkins washing up the track out of turn number 2. Here comes Eric Wineland now, closing the gap, 1 car length between the two of them into turns 3 and 4. Doesn't look like he's going to be close enough. But Eric trying to wind that thing up, get the good exit out of turn 4. He is closing, he is there, but not close enough. And they ran almost identical lap times. Jonathan Hernandez going to win stage number 1. And caution going to fly now to end the stage. But Jonathan Hernandez wins stage 1. Rob Jenkins comes home second there. Eric Wineland finishing in 3rd. Spencer Tart 4th. Brandon Andrews 5th. Christopher White 6th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin 7th. Tim Williams in 8th. Chad Genningsman finishes stage 1 in 9th. And Ryan Strunk rounds out the top 10 in the first stage. And yes, sir, Chris James, 88, is definitely putting on a show here, doing a great job in stage number 1. He captures that playoff point, though he doesn't need it. He's already locked in. Everything now is just the icing on top. And he's just showing how strong he's been here in these last few races. And also had a great run in the iRacing Fantasy, or the Norse Force Valhalla Cup Series. It was live here on Wednesday night. He had his best run of the season with the top 10 there. Nearly a top 5, I think. So really solid run, as it looks like Matt Cherry potentially getting the lucky dog here. Yes, it looks like either he is going to get the lucky dog or going to take a wave around. Not totally sure. But at the end of pit lane here, let's see who wins the battle off. Jonathan Hernandez going to win that race off. Eric Wineland 2nd. 3rd is Brandon Andrews. So issues for Rob Jenkins as he remains on the pit lane. Oh, still trying to get in his box. So Rob Jenkins, not sure if he even got service on that machine. 24.3 second stop. Not sure what happened there. He goes from 2nd all the way to 15th. So a rough time on pit lane, but let's see if we can talk with a driver out there. How about we try and get a word in with Brandon Andrews? We'll see if he's here. And it looks like he is. Brandon Andrews, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
Well, Brandon, you come into this race outside of the top 4 in the playoff picture, but earning some great points there in stage number 1. How's the race car feel for you out here?
It's, you know, it's not handling the best. It's a little tight. I was able to make some adjustments and make it handle a little better early in the run. It's just a matter of whether I can control these tires and keep the right front on it for long enough that I got a shot at the end.
Yeah, and definitely it looks like we're going to have a pretty clean and green race here. You know, only the 1 caution in the opening sequence there. So a pretty long run, and you said it progresses, it gets tighter and tighter. Do you think that's due to the heat out here today?
You know, I'm not sure. The track's cooled off a little bit. It's just, it's an odd track this week with the extra horsepower, and you know, we don't really get strung out very often anymore in these cars, but today you're seeing it. So it could be a product of the heat. I don't know. It's just a slick track in general. Not a lot of grip.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. But looks like your car is pretty quick. Looks like you're going green here in just a moment. So good luck out there, and hopefully we see you at the end.
10-4. Thank you.
That was Brandon Andrews, driver of the number 42 machine. Started in 4th. currently running in third, and he got some very solid stage points there in stage number 1, and definitely going to help his chances to make it in, but we still have a long ways to go, and Jonathan Hernandez going to lead the field out at turn 4. He gets on the accelerator back to the green flag. Eric Wineland gets a pretty solid jump. He is right there with Hernandez, and I think he might be the closest challenger on the racetrack tonight. Those guys were running some of the fastest laps on the long run, and at one point Eric Wineland was a bit faster, so he just didn't have the track position after starting back in 13th. He has now made his way to the front here, and he's looking to lock himself in via a win. Trying to put some pressure on Jonathan Hernandez. The gap now just 2 or 3 tenths. He is still there, whereas Jonathan Hernandez basically drove away under the last green flag sequence. Christopher White now goes to 3rd, Brandon Andrews to 4th. And another driver, like we've been talking about, Brian Pizzakemi back here in the 12th position. Caution flying. It's like the 37 of Chris Hansen, possibly, or maybe the 34 of Gavia Holt. Ooh, the 47 of Cody Jordan with an issue. That's what it was. Let's go back and take a look. Cody Jordan up on the high line, Richard Springer down low. Springer gets to the throttle. The 47 was coming down, and they just converge right there around the apron. Cody, an excellent job saving that. Prevents further damage from making contact with the outside wall. He just gets the left rear a bit beaten up, and we'll see what he needs to do here to get that repaired, but hangs on to the race car. And a few drivers on the pit lane right now. Cody Jordan going to bring it down along with them. But Jonathan Hernandez remains your leader, and Eric Wineland was doing a great job staying there with him. So we might have a little race on our front, at the front of the pack here tonight. It could be close. Hernandez stepped away by a huge margin in stage number 1, but Eric Wineland now is charged up to the 2nd spot, and looking like he might have something for him. Meanwhile, they had broken a long distance away. Think about a second already from Christopher White. Thank you, RHS, for the follow. Appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you are enjoying the stream. And if so, check out tonight's sponsor, Alpha Ornamental Metals. You can find those guys in Chesterfield, Virginia. They solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron. Also home of the Streamline Railing. So go give them a like over on Facebook at facebook.com/Alpha Ornamental Metals. Show them your support as they support the series here. I also want to give a big shout out to Rapid Fired Pizza. And thank you, Turtle Hermits, for the follow. Appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. And if you guys are also enjoying the action here tonight and want to support the series, these drivers, as well as V-Speed, you can get your own iRacing Fantasy Cup Series merch, as well as V-Speed merch, if you head over to the vspeedsim.com/shop website. First 25 to use the code FANTASY5 will save $5 on your purchase of $10 or more, and a portion of each sale contributes directly to the league here. But that purchase, that code can be used on any product in the store, and the purchase of the hat or t-shirt you see on the screen. A good portion of that goes straight back into the league funds here, so they are able to fund their activities throughout the season. And just another point I want to make while these guys are still under caution, we are looking for a second broadcaster, and you'll be able to cover some of this great iRacing Fantasy Series action during the next season. If you're interested, please contact us at vspeedsim@gmail.com, and we will work up a slide for that for the coming weeks. Thank you, TGP, for the follow. Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are all enjoying the stream here tonight. Jonathan Hernandez is enjoying the race. He's out in front and about to get things going once again. Green flag back in the air. The 88 jumps out front, but Eric Wineland right there with him. He is doing a great job on these restarts. Gonna slide down to the inside behind Hernandez now as they exit turn number 2. He's only about 2 car lengths back. Hernandez cuts way down through the dogleg, but Eric Wineland gonna try and ride the high line here to get up to him. And he will stay about a car length and a half behind. Meanwhile, Brandon Andrews fighting for the 3rd spot. He and Christopher White duking it out side by side. He will clear the 32 as they go into turn number 1. Move Andrews back to the 3rd position. And he has done an excellent job here to try and maximize what he can. Meanwhile, Eric Wineland in the same boat. That car very quick, but caution back on the speedway. 66 of James Love, as well as I believe the 6 machine of... I thought I saw the 6 machine. Maybe it was the 4 machine of Zachary Smith. Yeah, Zach Smith sitting there on the pit lane. Let's see what happened. And I think it might have actually been a bit farther up in front of him. Possibly Matt Cherry again involved. As they go through 3 and 4, he tries to take it 3 wide, turns the 4 of Zach Smith. And he gets turned himself, the 66, nowhere to go, and he gets slammed into by both of those drivers, takes it down to the inside wall. So James Love, let's take a look from the nose cam here and see what happened. But cautions do breed cautions, and just a lap after the restart, these guys get together 3 wide there. 9 going for a gap that had closed up. And James Love probably going to call it a night here. Or maybe not. He is back on the racetrack. But Zach Smith still sitting on the pit lane. He's trying to get the damage repaired. Not sure if he's going to take it behind the wall or not. But currently still 23 drivers on the lead lap. Frank Weinstedt, the last of them. And it looks like Zach Smith does take it behind the wall. So he's going to call it a night. Dusty Applin still making laps out here. He is 4 laps off the pace. And I think he did just get 1 lap back, so not sure what he's going to be scored at next time around. But Brandon Andrews, Christopher White, the only 2 to stay out during this cycle. Actually, that is not true. The top 5 all staying out. There goes Christopher White to take it down into pit lane. Rob Jenkins. Cody Jordan going to remain on the racetrack. So the only 2 to keep it out on the racetrack, Brandon Andrews and Cody Jordan. Brandon Andrews with 13 laps on the tires and 7 laps on the number 47 machine. Eric Wineland possibly winning the battle off pit lane there. Not sure. It looks like he is going to be in 3rd place. Jonathan Hernandez scored in the 4th position, so... shake up there between those guys. If you guys are enjoying the stream here on Twitch, we are live multiple times throughout the week, and we thank you for tuning in here. Please consider following or subscribing if you're enjoying the action. It really goes a long way to supporting us and allowing us to bring you great content each and every week. You can also find race replays over on YouTube, where we post them about a week after we go live here. And you can also find interesting content such as real-world racing action and automotive repair and enthusiast videos. We don't have quite any of that up yet, but we're partnering with another channel to get some of that content up there for you. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/vspeedsim, where we announce each and every broadcast before we go live. And you can also find us on Twitch, or Twitter and Instagram, where we post those same announcements as well as on-site reporting and special events, new merchandise, things of that nature. So check us out on those platforms and give us a like or follow. We'd really appreciate it. Hope you guys are enjoying the race. As we are about to go green once again, Brandon Andrews is your leader, and he's hoping that these tires are able to have some grip left in them. And he gets them going. Green flag back in the air here at ISM. And the 42 out in front. He goes well up the racetrack. Here comes Eric Wineland now. Good run out of turn 2. He's going to be right near the 42 down the back straightaway. Going into turns 3 and 4, just 2 or 3 car lengths the gap. And Brandon Andrews trying to hang on for whatever laps he can. But here comes the 12 down to the inside. Brandon Andrews up high, going to lead that lap. And he's going to lose the lead, though. Eric Wineland going to drive straight on past there. Those fresh Goodyear Eagles working wonders. As Jonathan Hernandez right there now behind him. And those two Hendrick machines, or Hendrick Auto Guard and Hendrick Powered machines right there behind him. Those two Camaros duking it out for second. Andrew's going to probably, he will give up that spot to Hernandez, who takes over second. And Eric Wineland now out in front. He is looking for playoff points, for stage points, whatever he can get, because he needs them. And his closest contender, Brian Pizzakemi, back here in 15th, not earning stage points. It's not working out for him at this point. The car obviously not how he needs it to be here. Currently riding in the 15th position and fighting with a handful of drivers, Rob Jenkins included, who was up in the second spot, but scored right now in 16th. And we know he has a good race car. He's just got to fight his way through. But at the front, Jonathan Hernandez taking back the lead away from Eric Wineland, and what a power move. Just goes to show how good that 88 is on the short run here. And Wineland just handing that position over, not even going to fight for it, knowing that he's got a bigger picture to worry about. And Jonathan Hernandez takes over the top spot once again. But Eric Wineland not letting him get too far away, is there catching back up to Kavaya Holt. Brandon Andrews still trying to hang on to third here. Ryan Strunk has closed in just 2 car lengths back. And remember now, Brandon has 20 laps on these tires, whereas everybody else with just about 8 laps on the tires. So not ideal situation, but he is definitely doing a good job as Eric Wineland gets back around Hernandez. So looks like the 88 got held up by the 34, and the 12 just went straight on past. Let's actually see if we can get a look at what happened here. Oh, the 12 actually made the pass in turns 1 and 2, so Wineland very strong. So a great job there by the 12 to get back out in front, as now they're battling for 6th and 5th back here. Taylor Butcher, Benjamin, Cody Jordan, and Cody Jordan on older tires, currently hanging on to 5th, but he is about to lose that spot as the 11 swings down low. Jacob Shorba also right here behind these guys, knowing he needs to start racing for some playoff points. He rides in the 8th position up from 15th. But he's kind of boxed in here. Oh, he gets into the 47. Oh, and it stacks up down the front straightaway. Disaster for Jacob Shorba. And he just has to be kicking himself, knowing that it's going to be an uphill battle from here. What a horrible scenario. He just got sandwiched in there. And was up in the high line. The 47 just started coming up into him. And then he gets slammed into by the 21 machine of Justin Carey. And that is disaster for him. Pizzakemi involved in this. And this is huge. Pizzakemi, massive damage on the race car. He was side by side with Alex Pelican, and just up in front of him, all of this broke out. And he gets into the back of Chad Ginningsman, gets turned and slammed into by Richard Springer, but How did he get turned here? I'm not exactly sure. He gets slammed into by the 43 of Starling, who turned to avoid him, but unable to do so. And that is a disaster. Justin Carey also comes into this race outside of the top 4, and he was just behind all of this when it broke out. And nowhere for him to go. He slams into the back of Jacob Shorba, and you know, I don't even know if these guys are going to be able to continue. Shorba sitting on pit, or he's coming down pit lane. No smoke out of that vehicle, so the engine is still running, but absolutely disastrous for those playoff contenders as Eric Wineland makes his way off the pit lane. And he will win the battle off. Jonathan Hernandez second. Taylor Butcher Benjamin comes off third. Ryan Strunk, Spencer Tart, Brandon Andrews. And we can't forget Chris Etcheper. He comes into the race here. Let's take a look at our playoff grid so that you guys have a better picture of what's going on. Etcheper comes in 12 points outside the cutoff. Eric Wineland came in 1 point behind, but he has since surpassed Pitsakemi, and now with Jacob Shorba being scored all the way back in the 20th position. Brandon Andrews was 22 behind. He has gained some serious points here already in the first half of this race, and still could gain some more here. And Jacob Shorba not going to have any shot at getting stage points now with the car so destroyed, and he is off the pit lane, but no nose on the race car. Justin Carey remains on the pit lane. He actually did not beat the pace car out, so he will be 1 lap down. Pitsakemi also on pit lane. He continues to sit there and has scored 1 lap down. So disaster for those guys who were on the outside or even on the inside looking like they were going to be the contenders. It's all shaken up now. Eric Wineland looking like he might be the guy you're going to have to beat to make it in, and he's going to be gaining quite a few points here. Finished either second. He finished third in stage 1. And currently leading now with only 15 to go to the end of stage number 2. So going to be a tall order for some of those guys to make it back in. And let's do a quick recap here. 5 cautions so far. A lot of those coming here in stage 2, as we had just 1 in the first 20 laps and ran it out to stage number 2. And ever since, we have had pretty rapid fire cautions. At the front, Jonathan Hernandez down low, Eric Wineland up high. And Eric kind of lagging back here, waiting for that pace car to go off. And now he pulls up to the front. He has control here, and he'll get him going on the outside. Gets a great restart. And going to jump out to a 4 or 5 car length advantage over the 88 machine, who has to battle it up with Ryan Strunk, and not going to be an issue. 88 will drive right underneath him and go to the 2nd spot. Meanwhile, Taylor Butcher Benjamin going the wrong direction on that restart. Here comes the 8. Spencer Tart to the inside, and Brandon Andrews also coming down to the inside. And Brandon needs as many points as possible. I didn't realize he was 22 out. I thought he was only 12 out. It's a great run through the center of 1 and 2 there. He gets right to the back bumper of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. And it is anybody's call as to who is going to make it into the playoffs tonight. Jacob Shorba is still out here running in 16th. That car heavily destroyed. Both ends missing the bumpers. And he is well back here. Alex Pelican with connection issues still. He is in the 14th spot. And Alex not running quite as quickly as we expected at Phoenix here, or ISM here tonight. After he won Martinsville, he also won Richmond. You'd expect that car to be pretty good on this shorter racetrack, more of a flat style speedway, but has not performed quite to our expectations yet. But we still have a long way to go, just passing halfway last lap. So right now the battle is on for the lead, though. Eric Wineland to the outside. Jonathan Hernandez diving it into turn number 1. He's going to take the spot away, but Wineland a huge run out of the corner. And he is once again going to ride on the outside of the dog leg. We'll see how they settle out here into turn 3. Hernandez with the advantage, but Wineland still on the quarter panel on the outside. He's going to power back around down the front straightaway. They are side by side. Wineland will lead the lap. 33,000 separating those two, and I think Hernandez maybe not going to be able to do it at this point. He needed to be able to clear last time by, and now 10 to go in the stage. Eric Wineland trying to get it done in stage 2. He takes the lead back, and he will put a car length or 2 between himself and Jonathan Hernandez down into turn number 1. Brandon Andrews back here in 7th. He has not gone the right direction in this stage. Starting to move backwards, actually. He's in 7th. Got passed up by Rob Jenkins, who has recovered extremely well from his bad pit stop earlier. Up here in that number 19 machine. Let's go on board with Rob, see how that race car is handling for him. No real issues at all there. This car is as smooth as can be. Maybe a little bit loose on turn entry there into turn 1, but actually here comes the 42 of Andrews right back up to his bumper. Down into the corner. He is there now, looking to try and take 6 back away with the stage starting to close down. Chris Etcheper up here in the stage points as well. And just to recap, Etcheper is 12 back. And so he's actually closer than Brandon Andrews. It's going to be close at the line here with Shorba and Pizzacchemi having issues. Eric Wineland being very, very quick here tonight. And 5 to go now. Eric Wineland looking for stage 2. Looking for all those bonus points, which will almost all but ensure him into the playoffs here as long as he finishes pretty solidly. He comes in right at the cut line anyways and outperforming all his competitors at the moment. 4 to go at the line. He's looking for this stage win. Ryan Strunk back here in the 4th spot has moved forward pretty well, up from 19th to 77, performing like the playoff contender that he is. Though not in contention at this point in the playoffs, he was a challenger earlier on in these playoffs. And he's racing it up with Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who just missed out, but got the win the first week of the playoffs. A caution gonna fly. 34 of Kavaya Holt with issues here on the back straightaway. And that is most likely gonna do it for our stage. Let's take a look at what happened with Kavaya. Coming out of turn number 2, the 34 gets a little bit wide. He tags the outside wall, shoots it down to the inside, and he is able to, wow, what a save to keep it off the wall. That car was skipping across the racetrack. Must have been inches there. Let's actually look at the gearbox view here. Yeah, just right up against the wall. What a job by Kavaya. But at the front, Eric Wineland, I believe, is going to win the stage. Second will be Jonathan Hernandez. Third, Spencer Tart. Fourth, Ryan Strunk. Fifth is Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Sixth will be Rob Jenkins. Seventh is Brandon Andrews, so good stage points. Chris Etcheper in 8th. doing what he needs to do to try and stay in contention. Tim Williams here in 9th, and Alex Link rounding out the top 10 in the stage. Eric Wineland going to bring the field down the pit lane. Chris Etcheper going to remain on the racetrack. And not sure if there's bonus points for leading the lap, but he is trying to do that. And he will lead the lap there. You can see Chad Ginningsman, I believe, going to try and get a wave around here and get back down to 1 lap down with that car thoroughly in need of some repairs here. Brian Pizzacchemi also 2 laps down. Jacob Shorba is 13th. I don't know how that is possible, but he is going to lose a couple spots here and probably going to continue to get damage repaired. And he will do so. Long extended pit stop. Maybe they can even get the bumper back on that thing. And hello there, RHS. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the follow earlier. Appreciate the support. Chris Etcheper going to bring it down the pit lane now, and he will surrender the lead. Jonathan Hernandez wins the battle off of pit road, and he will take over the top spot once again. Eric Wineland 2nd, Spencer Tart 3rd, Taylor Butcher Benjamin 4th, Ryan Strunk 5th, and Brandon Andrews going to be right there in the 6th position. But Chris Etcheper going to lose quite a few spots now, taking it down pit lane, but he does have some damage. Maybe he was just intending on getting that repaired as well. So he remains on pit lane. Not a long pit stop, a little extended, but not too much. Let's hear a quick word once again from our sponsor, Rapid Fired Pizza. The field going double file now. Jonathan Hernandez, your leader, once again going to be taking the field to the green flag. He has led 53 laps here, but Eric Wineland coming on strong. He led 23 laps there and captured stage number 2. And we are well past the halfway point, but if you haven't already, cheer on your favorite driver in the chat. We will try and follow along with them throughout the remainder of the event. But Jonathan Hernandez waiting to get him going. Eric Wineland's lagging back a little bit, but gets a good jump. He's actually almost alongside Hernandez. So once again, that 12 machine putting his car where it needs to be, as he is side by side through turn 2, way up by the outside wall. And Wineland trying to speed around here. He will remain side by side, really dives it into turn 3, maybe a bit too wide. Really wide, and just able to get out of the corner. And he will slot in line between Spencer Tart and the 88 of Hernandez. And it looks like Tart doing a good job right now, keeping up with these two, but how long can he stay up here? Those two have been the class of the field. Taylor Butcher Benjamin kind of leading this second pack in front of Brandon Andrews, who has moved back inside the top 5. And they roll through turns 1 and 2. Tim Williams right there behind him. Rob Jenkins once again in the top 10. He passes up Nicholas Starling. Thank you for the subscription, the Weeg. Thank you so much. You now have access to the V emote. Oh, thanks for the gifted sub there, Dunkin' Donuts Addict. Appreciate that. And the Weeg, or the WeAG, you guys now have access to the exclusive V emote, and you can also skip the ads that we run every so often. We haven't run any here tonight, but it's because we haven't had long enough caution breaks. Looks like the 88 of Hernandez once again stepping away, but Eric Wineland still a little ways behind him, not too far. Currently about a car length and a half, but the 88 looks like he's put it in another gear here in stage number 3. Thank you for the week for the follow. Spencer Tart is hanging with these guys, doing a good job. I haven't seen the speed from Tart yet, but these RCR machines have been great on the short tracks, and now Tart making his way forward up from 14th to the 3rd spot, hanging tough here. Out the front, down the front straightaway. He is shifting in the corners, which can be pretty risky business around here. Not always sure how that car is going to react when you go up between gears or go down between gears. It can get a little bit tricky, but Spencer doing everything to get as much grip out of that race car as he can. I'm not sure if Jonathan is shifting. Doesn't sound like it, so let's see if you're top 2. Oh, issues for Brandon Andrews. And possibly Chris Etcheper, not sure, but Brandon Andrews, that car is not driving the way it should be. And what happened? Racing it up here. He was inside the top 5 behind Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Tim Williams was there behind him. Down into the corner, the 96 really dives it in there, misses the turn. And Brandon gets nailed in the left rear. That really hurt his car, and the 41 of Etcheper slammed into him, so more issues for playoff drivers. And that is just disaster for Brandon Andrews, who was looking like he was in good shape, but not sure what happened here with the 42. That car he goes up to the 96, shows him his displeasure, and I think he's going to take it behind the wall. He towed it to the pit lane. That car, I think, might be ruined. I think the back end, that rear axle, just absolutely offset from where it needs to be. And the 96 of Tim Williams missing the corner there. He got tagged by the 19 of Rob Jenkins as well. So Jonathan Hernandez going to win the battle off pit lane. Eric Wineland will come out second. Thank you, TGP, for tuning in here. Hello. Welcome to the broadcast. And we mentioned it earlier in the stream here. We have a rewards program going on now. If you type in exclamation point points, like I will do here just now, you can see how many V-Speed rewards points you've got, and we are going to be setting up a rewards system so you can redeem those for special prizes, whether that's merchandise or just call outs or mentions on the race. We're going to be coming up with some ideas for that. And you will earn time or earn points by just watching. And also by following, subscribing, those types of things. You will definitely earn points that way. So pretty cool little system that we've got in place, and hopefully we can get you guys some good rewards. And as far as the racing TGP flush, it's been pretty good so far. A quick recap: 7 cautions, 7 lead changes, mostly between Jonathan Hernandez and Eric Wineland, but we have had a couple other leaders Brandon Andrews was leading, and this is a crazy playoff race so far. Almost all of the playoff contenders, except for those top 2, have been involved in something, and this is what the grid looks like coming in. So you can see how close it was at the cut line. Eric Wineland has really been up there in the class of the field with Jonathan Hernandez. Those two absolutely just dominating this event. Jacob Shorba with damage. He currently rides in 15th. Ryan Pizzichemi is multiple laps down, or he's actually back on the lead lap now, 22nd position. But Eric Wineland, like I said, up in 2nd place. Chris Etcheper just involved in that wreck. He's in 14th. Brandon Andrews is behind the wall. He's out of the race. And then Justin Carey, also heavy damage. He is 22nd now. Last car on the lead lap, so things really shaking up. And we are going green once again. So busy looking at the points there. Tim Williams gets the EOL. He'll go to the back. At the front, though, Eric Wineland almost runs into the back of Jonathan Hernandez. And that's going to set back Eric Wineland quite a ways now, about a half second, the gap between those two. And Spencer Tart in the 3rd position, right there on his back bumper. Spencer doing a great job here. Was not expecting him to be up in contention, but a little damage on the race car, and he seems to still have plenty of speed. We know his teammate Alex Pelican has been so good on these short tracks, and Alex has found his way back forward now inside the top 10 once again. And it would not surprise me to see Alex challenging for a top 5, potentially even the win by the end of this thing. Oh, but Ryan Strunk with an issue. Oh, and he's going to park it. Oh, the 27. Oh, and they're still spinning it up back here. The 34 machine of Kavaya Holt losing control at the end. Oh my gosh, what a pile up there. Ryan Strunk kind of at the start of that. Let's see what happened with Ryan. Going down in the corner, back end steps out. He tries to save it. Almost had it caught and then loses it again, overcorrects into the wall head first. And then they did not see him. The 27 machine of Dusty Applin absolutely destroyed that car. He tried getting on the brakes. Jacob Shorba just got through there, and that is a huge break for him. I need to see what this looked like. He gets through there, and just as Ryan Strunk got slammed into, but the 27 caught up, the 34. Kavaya Holt, like I said, and looks like somebody else was there. Let's see if we can get a look at that impact. .31 machine of Frank Wineset. The fender machine has his fenders knocked in, and the nose of that race car is absolutely gone, so a lot of cars going to require some repairs here after that one. And let me see how you guys can earn some points here. There's definitely certain things that you can do to get those rewards points. Let's see. So you get 5 points for every minute, or I think 3 points for every 5 minutes you watch, something along those lines. 1,000 for following, 2,000 for subscribing, 250 for hosting or rating, and then donations and super chat are 250 and 10. So any of those things will earn you points, but just watching will definitely earn you points. And yes, sir. That was definitely the point there. That fender machine lacking a nose. He does have the fenders at least. But myself being a guitar player, I appreciate the paint scheme, the sponsors on there. That kind of old school DEI paint scheme, a good looking race car. Was a good looking race car. Now that it's missing the nose, it's not quite as much, but the 66 of James Love kind of in the same boat. That patriotic scheme, missing the front end here, and of course we want to shout out all our veterans, anybody watching here tonight. We appreciate everything that you've done for us. We want to appreciate all the military members in our community that continue to allow us to live free and have all the freedom that we have over here in the United States. And Veterans Day coming up, so thank a veteran. And thanks for tuning in. The WEAG, yes, Jacob Shorba, actually that gives us a great segue. You can check out Shorba's Racing Graphics on Facebook. Some awesome paint schemes made by Jacob Shorba, who runs that program at affordable prices. You can find them on Facebook at Shorba's Racing Graphics. Link is in the chat just now, so check them out. Green flag back on the speedway. Jonathan Hernandez leading the field here once again. Eric Wineland right there in second. He will hang on to second spot. Oh, the 8 of Spencer Tart all the way to the wall. He just brushed it. And the 11 machine of Taylor Butcher Benjamin starting to put pressure on him, but really those top 3 have been the class of the field now. Oh, in contact behind Nicholas Starling. Oh, they're piling up. Oh, the 47 of Cody Jordan. I saw it happening at the edge of the screen there, and cautions, breeding cautions. Heavy contact for the 47 machine, who I'm sure is just not happy at all about that. Let's see what happened here. Let's take a look from our overhead camera. They were 3 wide. Alex Pelican up high, the 43 in the middle, and the 47 down low. 43 gets into him. Alex Pelican just nowhere to go. That car is destroyed. Chris Etcheper sneaks by. The 51 able to slow it up, and all the other drivers able to avoid him, but Cody Jordan, heavy damage on that race car. He slid across the wall for quite a while, and the impact on the side from Alex Pelican. Yeah, the back end. Oh, and then the second, yeah, that second impact really what vaulted the car around. He's going to have some trouble with the handling on that vehicle. Let's see if I can fix a Nightbot. It's a little bit intrusive here. That should be better. Yeah, front end's optional. A lot of race cars missing the nose out here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin remains on the racetrack. He and Matt Cherry, the only drivers to stay out here. And they will stay out here on the racetrack. 13 laps on the 11, 6 laps on the 9's tires. And Eric Wineland going to win the battle off. He takes 2 on those tires, or on his race car, so we'll have to see what happens there. Yeah, we just adjusted some of the preferences for Nightbot. He won't be as intrusive now. Didn't realize some of those span protection things were on. Tim Williams now dropping back to the tail end here as a lap car. Unable to get the wave around. He is 6 laps down. Currently 18 drivers on the lead lap. Cody Jordan, the last of them. In that thoroughly damaged race car, Alex Pelican is he is on the pit lane. He has nothing to lose coming into this race locked in. So he is going to be at Homestead no matter what happens here tonight. And obviously has not gone his way. Has not been the strongest performance we've seen from Alex, but I think he was just biding his time and waiting for his moment to get to the front with 40 laps remaining. Still plenty of time to do so. And that is caution number 9 here. Just approaching about an hour and a half in this race, so it has gone by fairly quickly. The first stage we knocked out in no time, and ever since stage number 2, it's been a little bit more hectic. Some sporadic green flag runs, but most of these just cautions, breeding cautions. Drivers not given a whole lot of space, or just a little bit unaware that they're 3 wide, I think. And that's really been what's caused the majority of these wrecks. But out in front, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's out here on old tires. Matt Cherry right there on older tires as well. Not quite as old, but that car with the damage, so may as well be on 25 lap old tires, I think, with the way that damage looks. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin, a strong driver out here. We'll see what he can do. Gets the field going. The 12 of Eric Wineland right alongside Matt Cherry. The 9 does not get rolling here, and he's going to hold up his teammate Jonathan Hernandez, who tries to find his way through. Now the 32 up the racetrack, 3 wide out of the corner. The 9 tags the wall. And this is where things get dangerous on this raceway. That dog leg, so hard to figure out exactly where you're coming up onto the speedway, and so hard for other drivers to see. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin hanging on to the lead. Here comes Jonathan Hernandez to the outside of Eric Wineland. Oh, the 88 diving into the corner. He overshot the entry, and he's going to lose that position to Spencer Tart and Eric Wineland, as they're catching up to Cody Jordan. Here goes Eric Wineland to the inside. He's trying to get there and make that pass before they get to the 47, side by side down the front straightaway. He remains there on the inside. And Eric Wineland's gonna take over the lead. And out in front, he will try and pull away. Jonathan Hernandez trying to take second back away from Butcher Benjamin, who's done an excellent job on those much older tires. Be able to hang up with these guys. He's got a pretty good race car, obviously. He's been running top 5, I think, all night. But he's going to surrender that position to Jonathan Hernandez, who will slide up in front of him. And now Spencer Tart going to try and slide through. He will. So move 11 back to where he's been running in the 4th spot, just on older tires now, at a slight disadvantage. And Christopher White starting to close in here. But at the front, Eric Wineland trying to pull away. Jonathan Hernandez is not letting that happen. The gap just 0.4 of a second. And a little over 30 laps to go now, as Rob Jenkins makes his way around the lap vehicle of Cody Jordan. Jenkins has charged back through the field here, started second and finished stage 1 in second, but it has not been the way that he would have liked it, I'm sure. With all these cautions, it's made it much more difficult to make it to the front. But he will at least be able to catch up to the 11 machine up there in front of him, his teammate. As Christopher White now trying to make the pass on the outside. Looks like he'll have the momentum down the back straightaway across the dogleg. And they will stay side by side, but I would expect that pass to be completed out of turn 4 here if everything goes the way Christopher wants it to. And he does complete the pass Move the 11 now back to 5th position, in danger of losing that, as here comes Jenkins to the outside. The 11 checking up big time down low. Jenkins going to drive straight on past. Here comes Alex Link. And Alex has made some ground up here in this latter part of the race. We saw Alex pretty far back, nearly in the 20th position early on here, and he now moves to 6th. So a great job moving forward, and Eric Wineland out in front, black wheels and all. He's doing a great job out here. Eric started in 13th, and he has led 29 laps here, winner of stage number 2, after holding off Jonathan Hernandez. And he is just hoping this thing probably goes green. He's been very good on the long run, and Jonathan Hernandez has been about equal with him. We'll see if Jonathan has to save anything here or just trying to be as smooth as possible to try and catch up there and challenge for tonight's win. He would be back-to-back here in the round of 8. It would give him a ton of momentum going to Homestead next week, where he is already locked in. And after leading 75 laps here tonight, he is going to be proud about that, I'm sure, and that should be the most laps led no matter what happens in the remainder of the race. And yeah, that car looks really fast. He is running about the same times. That time it was a 10th slower than Jonathan Hernandez, but second fastest car on the track by over a 10th. Spencer Tart back here, about a 10th off of Wineland, and trying to see who else has some speed, but not really anybody else sub 26 seconds. Just your top 2. Wineland now a 10.5 faster, so he pulls that gap back out to 6/10, 6.5 tenths now down the back straightaway. Looking really, really quick here out in front. Jonathan Hernandez getting a little bit tight there out of turn number 4. Let's see what it looks like out the front of that vehicle. And Nicholas Starling back here into the 10th spot. That 43 machine starting to move forward again. Started in 6th, so he has a good race car tonight, just has not gone his way with the mistake there on the front straightaway, getting into the 47 machine. I believe it was with the 47 machine. He's got damage, but not too bad overall. He puts the pressure now on Matt Cherry, who's on older tires. He'll swing it down low here in 3 and 4. And that is what my theory is there. Turtle looks like the 88 probably saving his equipment. Still a long ways to go here, and definitely not decided, but he can't let the 12 get too far out in front, because it could definitely cost him, you know, as these tires wear off. It looks like he's starting to struggle a little bit on turn exit, and we saw him kind of slide in on one of those earlier laps. We'll go inside and see what's going on. And looks pretty decent, not quite as stable as I'm sure he would like, but really diving it low in these corners here and swinging it up right by the wall. About as good as it can be through 1 and 2, but Eric Wineland just that much better. And we'll go on board with Eric as well and kind of compare the two. You see Eric a little bit wider of an arc, just doesn't quite get down to the yellow line there, so. Last time by, he was a bit faster, and that car just is so much better on turn exit, I think. He dives it down to the yellow line here in 3 and 4. And he's able to just drive that straight off. Almost gets into the wall, but doing an excellent job staying off of it. And he is pulling away now, 1.2 seconds the gap over Jonathan Hernandez. Spencer Tart another 3.3 seconds back. And those top two, once again, just the class of the field. Spencer Tart, though, doing an excellent job here, up 11 positions from where he started. Christopher White back up here challenging. He is in the fourth position after starting in 5th. Rob Jenkins started on the outside of the front row, and he is charged from outside the top 20 now back up to the 5th position as he scuffs the wall there, and the position's changing hands behind him. Alex Link trying to take the 6th position away from Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and the 11 drifts way up the racetrack. He is going to hang on to the spot for now. But Alex up 11 spots from where he started. Oh, and he tags the wall, trying to make a move to the outside of Butcher Benjamin. And Taylor up 1 spot from where he started. Chris Etcheper back here in 8th made a great recovery. And he might be able to sneak into the playoffs here. Jacob Shorba, though, up to the 12th spot. He's looking pretty solid. No stage points to his name, and it'll be very, very close at that cutoff line. Eric Wineland, though, as he rides out front, definitely in position to advance no matter what happens here. As he now is catching up to a lap car. Looks like Jonathan Hernandez able to shave off a bit of time over these last couple laps. Now the gap down to just over a second. And now under a second as they work their way around that lap machine. Wineland got held up just a little bit. Maybe the lack of clean air there for a moment threw off his line in the handling of that race car, but we'll see what that gap comes down to. 15 laps to go now here at ISM Raceway, the penultimate race of the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series. Brought to you by Alpha Ornamental Metals. Eric Wineland out in front trying to win his way in. Jonathan Hernandez back here just trying to steal a win away and get his 2nd in a row. Spencer Tart now has a challenger for 3rd, but they are 5.7 seconds back of your leader. Christopher White now challenging for that podium position. Rob Jenkins has slipped back a ways. His teammate Taylor Butcher Benjamin starting to reel him back in, even though Taylor on much older tires. He is held strong here just outside the top 5. And at the front, Hernandez is closing. He is coming. That gap shrinking lap by lap. Last time by, 200ths faster. Not quite a lot, but the last few laps before that was about a 10th, maybe a 10th and a half. And this time by, we'll see what happens. Looks like Wineland picks it up just a little, and he will gain another 10th back. But Hernandez on the charge here. And he is not giving up just yet. He is mounting that race car ready to go. Starting to charge back to the front here. Let's see what that gap looks like now. About half the distance from what it was. But Wineland's so good out of turn number 4. That's where the strength of that race car has been all race. Down here in 1 and 2, Hernandez is pretty solid. He can dive into the corner and still make the exit a bit better than Eric Wineland. But that is the gap right there. That's what's separating 1st from 2nd. And Eric Wineland out in front, hoping he doesn't have to catch up to any lap traffic. Let's see what his view out the windshield looks like. Thank you, Team Redline, for the follow. Thanks for tuning in here. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Out in front, Eric Wineland. He has led 50 laps now, coming to 51. And under 10 to go. How do you think this is going to go, folks? I think Wineland has it almost locked up now. Hernandez starting to drift backwards again. Thank you, King Rooster, for the follow. Appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. Eric Wineland out in front here. 1.3 seconds. The gap back to Hernandez, and it looks like the 88 maybe has used up all his stuff here. He's got just a little ways to go. 6 laps. It'll be 5 to go next time by, and it's just those two in contention to win this, as Spencer Tart back here in third is 6.8 seconds off your leader. And I think it's Eric's race to lose, and he is looking to lock himself into the playoffs, into the championship, with a run here at ISM. Just a super fast race car tonight that they brought out. But caution on the racetrack, the 66 of James Love. Issues here. Not sure what happened with him. Coming out of turn 2 down the low side of the racetrack. I'm not sure if he just came to a stop. Down by the wall. I think he was trying to get out of the way, but he just came to a stop, took it behind the wall, and that brought out the yellow. And that is not what Eric Wineland wanted to see. This shakes things up. We're probably going to get overtime. What happened there? I really don't know. But James Love taking it behind the wall. And a driver we haven't talked too much about, but is in the playoff picture. I mean, we talked about him early on. He's got damage back here in 15th. This is exactly what he needed, and there may be something that he can do to try and squeeze his way into the playoffs, into the championship round. Also, Chris Etcheper in the 9th position. Any of these guys going to try 2 tires? Anybody going to stay out? And nobody stays out, but it could come down to a 2-tire call. Jacob Shorbo looking for a miracle as well. That race car absolutely destroyed on both ends. And 10.6 second stop on Spencer Tart. He's going to win the battle off pit lane. The 19 of Rob Jenkins right there. And who got it? 8 got it. Spencer Tart to the lead. And yes, sir, get your popcorn. You're not going to want to miss this finish. Green, white, checkered overtime. Spencer Tart out first. Rob Jenkins also on 2 tires in second. Jonathan Hernandez first on 4. Chris Etcheper on 2. Eric Wineland on 4 in the 5th position. And I don't know if the 41 may or may not have gotten a penalty. No, looks like he's good. So mixed strategies, and Eric Wineland was looking at his place in Homestead like it was all locked up. It is not locked up now. Chris Etcheper up here in the mix. You never know what could happen. He could potentially lock himself in if the chaos breaks out. Justin Carey in the top 10. He was laps down earlier. Jacob Shorba in 13th. Brian Pizzakemi in 15th. Anything can happen. We're all stacked up. All kinds of mixed strategies. And I want to give a big shout out to Alpha Ornamental Metals for sponsoring this series, this league. They solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron. Also home of the Streamline railing. Check those guys out on Facebook at facebook.com/Alpha Ornamental Metals. And the league, yes, they do not have that updated, I believe, in iRacing, which is what we are running on here tonight. And pace car lights are off. We're going to get going here. And to recap, 10 cautions, 10 lead changes. and this is going to be very exciting. I don't know what's going to happen. But grab a snack, grab a drink, grab some rapid-fired pizza, and don't go anywhere because this is going to be wild. Spencer Tart, Rob Jenkins on 2 tires out front. Chris Etcheper on the outside there on the second row with 2 tires as well. I don't know what kind of grip they're going to have. They may not have any when they go down into turn number 1. And either way, waiting on the green flag. Spencer Tart gets him going. Green flag in the air. Jonathan Hernandez gets a good jump over the 19 of Rob Jenkins down into turn 1. He will dive it in there. And connection problems for the 88. The 12 of Eric Wineland right here behind him. He's going to dive it way down low, but Spencer Tart out in front. He's trying to hang on. Here comes Hernandez with the run. Right to the back bumper, unable to get that pass completed, but out of turn number 4. Oh, and the 19 goes around. Hernandez spins. And we're going to get another overtime. Holy cow. Let's go see what happened here. Hernandez losing it. Let's go to what happened with the 19 machine. Rob Jenkins, who's on those old tires. Rob was up here on the outside of Eric Wineland going into the corner. He gets on the throttle. Back end just steps out in front of Christopher White. They all stack up there. Cars bouncing off the wall. The 21 of Justin Carey. The 96 of Tim Williams. A handful of others, but Carey able to avoid only by slamming the wall. Let's see what happened to Jonathan Hernandez, who looks like his engine expires here. He gets in the back of Spencer Tart, spins it to the inside, and he gets slammed into by the 11 machine, I think the 9 of Matt Cherry. Trying to avoid that. A little tag. Oh, he just scuffs the inside wall, but Jonathan Hernandez, his race is over. 2 wrecks coming out of the same corner at the same time. That is just it's unusual, but not unexpected, I guess, for overtime. Especially the way things have gone here tonight. 11 cautions. Spencer Tart holds on to the lead, but he's got Eric Wineland on those fresh tires. Chris Etcheper into 3rd. Etcheper trying to win his way in. He has not had the speed all night, but opportunity arising now. And possibly Chris Etcheper could walk out of here with the ticket to Homestead. Justin Carey hangs on to the 9th spot. Jacob Shorba with no front end still hanging on in the top 10. And we only have 13 drivers on the lead lap. So the worst he can really finish, I think, is going to be 13th. And Rob Jenkins is the driver there with pretty good damage. So I don't know if he's going to have anything to even compete with Jacob. And I'm surprised that some of these guys have not taken it down the pit lane. But we're going to cut quickly to a side-by-side and be right back with the green flag. We are actually going to jump out of the commercial there because they are going to be going green this time by Spencer Tart, your leader. Eric Wineland in 2nd. He's got fresh tires Tart on 2 tires. And he was just barely hanging on in front of those guys. He's going to have to get a perfect restart. And either way, that 12 machine very quick here. He's been incredible on the restarts. We'll have to see what he can do here to hang on. And they get going. The 8 machine gets back on the throttle. Green flag in the air. We're entering overtime number 2. Eric Wineland able to secure second place, and he'll jump right up behind Spencer Tart. Does he have enough to get there? Spencer's been about 3rd best all evening. And Eric been so good on this end of the racetrack. We'll see if he can do it. Chris Etcheper racing with Christopher White. That is also a very important scenario. Here comes Wineland to the outside. Gonna make the move. Spencer Tart down low. And white flag in the air. We're ending this thing no matter what happens. Eric Wineland powering around the outside, trying to win his way to Homestead down the back straightaway. He takes the lead through 3 and 4. Eric Wineland. You can see Miami in his windshield. Here he comes. Checkered flag in the air. He'll win at ISM. The playoff race here. Congratulations to Eric Wineland, who secures his spot in the championship for next week at Homestead. What a run as he takes the lead away on the last lap from Spencer Tart, who put up a valiant effort there to try and hold those guys off. But the speed of that number 12 machine and that driver here tonight, just so fast, and it was going to be hard to beat him no matter who you were. Here comes his teammate Chad Ginningsman, who did not have a great race. Though started on the pole, he got into a couple different things here. But Eric Wineland, your winner here tonight. What a finish. And it doesn't get much more exciting and dramatic than that. As he gets a congratulations from the affiliate team driver, Justin Carey, that number 21, who looks like he may miss out on the playoff championship 4. But Eric Wineland's going to do it here tonight. Let's get a word in with these top 3, and we'll find out who is going to be advancing. So let's pull these guys up here one at a time. Let's see if we can get them out of talking with their teams potentially. So your top 3 are Eric Wineland, Spencer Tart, and Christopher White, who gets up there. He gets around Chris Etcheper. Etcheper actually finishing in 5th here. Eric Wineland, this is Adam, the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, Adam. Oh.
Well, Eric, it was. I'm sure it was a stressful end of the race. You had a massive lead over Jonathan there, and the caution flew. What was going through your mind at that point?
Well, I was devastated at that point. The reason for the yellow was disappointing. Everything about that was disappointing because honestly, it was shaping up to be a really good battle there at the end. Hernandez, John was chasing me down there at the end because, believe it or not, from the last time we pitted, I was on 2, he was on 4. So I started to feel the effects of it a little bit there toward the end. It was starting to really be hard to drive, but I knew back there that he was having to drive just as hard. So I was hoping he was going to maybe get a little loose, kind of hurt the tires a little bit. But man, that caution changed everything. I'm very glad that it was able to.
Yeah, and kind of everything broke loose there at the last or the first overtime. We saw Hernandez lose it on the back bumper of Spencer Tart, and Spencer had those 2 tires. Were you concerned though that he might have enough of an advantage on the restart to be able to catch up to him?
Actually, yeah. I knew Spencer's fast. I mean, any way you look at it, he had great short run pace. We had him a little bit covered on the long run, but his short run pace was good. So I knew that restart was going to be a tough one. Going in on 4, I felt confident. I just thought if I can get myself through the first lap, I've got a chance. And then I really decided down the back stretch when I cut the dog leg, I was like, okay, I'm set up. I'm going to pounce on his outside through 3 and 4 because I felt like that was my bread and butter. Since I discovered it around midway through the first stage, I noticed that the 2nd/3rd lane up there in 3 and 4 was a great way to kind of maintain momentum. And even though you might be intentionally trying to, maybe the guy on the bottom might feel he's getting pinched a little bit. So that was my plan, was to get up to his outside, and I mean, he did everything he could. Credit to him, he did everything he could. He almost squeezed me in the wall, but he raced it clean, which kudos to him. That was awesome to have that race. And then yeah, after the restart over driving 1 and 2, getting it back was pretty nice to finally grab that first win. Feels like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, and you've had some good races here, but you know, you came into the event tonight. You were at 1 point outside looking in, and did you feel the pressure early on? But and you know, as you saw success through the mid stages of this race, did that pressure kind of go away, or was your focus just on winning in general?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. After the drop of the green flag and how I was able to kind of slice my way up into the top 10, I thought, okay, first stage, like, we haven't had a caution yet. Looks like it's going to be a good race tonight. Like, just keep working. I had my spotter, Brandon, giving me updates on where some of the guys in points were around me, specifically Jacob and Brian. And I've just, that confidence kept getting built up more and more, up until the point where they unfortunately ended up in a pretty big crash. I heard. I have yet to go back and see it, but that really sucked, because I didn't want to, you know, like, make it in that way. So I made up for it, because like I told my team when I was coming across the start finish line, I was like, who needs to worry about points in the playoffs when you just win the race and get to go to Homestead? So, but yeah, the confidence built up there. It kept building toward the end. And so right there at the end, when I had that peak confidence, that was the perfect time. Now I just hope I don't peak too soon, and I peak in the next race, and, you know, we go win ourselves a championship.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to my next question. Just how do you think you know, you're looking forward to Homestead out there? Very different racetrack, a very unique racetrack. So what are your thoughts on heading there and in contention to win this championship?
Well, I'm sure all your viewers are going to love it, because I can tell you right now, it's going to be the most intense, pressure-packed race that we've had yet. 4 great drivers are now in the championship 4 here. I'm still waiting to hear who the last guy is, but between the 3, John and myself, I mean, those 3 right there are all top running cars. It's just going to be, the stakes are that much higher going in, so it's just going to be just as tough to get it done. I'm just glad to be a part of it, and now set the sights on getting those reps in, get those practice laps in, build it the way we need it, and give it our best, give it hell to go win the championship next week.
Yeah, and the Penske machines have been very strong here. You know, Chad won at Talladega a few weeks back, and now you win here tonight at ISM. But he was on the pole here tonight, and you know, he went backwards, you came forwards. Was there something? Do you guys have some kind of communication or trade some secrets there that you got all the speed from his race car, or what just happened exactly?
He gave it to me telepathically through the race. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate what happened to him, because he did have a really fast car. He was very good on the short run. We were talking about that in practice. He felt like he was awesome on the short run, and he showed it in qualifying. I screwed up my lap, so I didn't get, you know, to show that. But he was awesome on the short run. But then I noticed earlier that John had him after the first few laps in stage 1, and then yeah, what happened to him back there was just super unfortunate. Like I said, most of what went on back there was just unfortunate the way it happened. I don't think there were, you know, too many just racing incidents. It might have been just someone's lapse in judgment back there that kind of upset some things. But once we got 1, it felt like it piled on in stage 2 and for the rest of the race. But nah, we didn't share any information back and forth. We just talked a little bit about our cars, and we help each other out when we can. I can't thank those guys enough. Jordan Brockell for bringing me on board to drive for the team, and then Justin Carey with the Team Alliance, and then having Chad fill in for the 22 these last 10, 11 weeks or whatever it's been. He's been on and off, but to have him in the car is definitely a comfort, because I know he's fast, so he's a good one to race around. Can't thank them enough. Can't thank OSM, One Sim Motorsports, my guys, my team. This car was awesome. The setup came from there, and John had it. John had a variation as well, I believe, that was just as fast, if not a little faster early in the race there, but we came on strong there at the end. Michael Watkins, Brandon Machieski for being on the box with me. Brandon was an awesome spotter tonight once he got here. He had to, sit there and bowl a little bit himself because that's what he does. But once he got out of bowling, the spotting skills were on point. So the entire thing, just the entire operation, I can't thank them enough for getting me to this point. Now I'm going to go win a championship for him.
Awesome, Eric. Well, you got all the shout-outs out of the way, but obviously an incredible race for you here, and you lock yourself in, and we are so looking forward to seeing what you can do with those other guys. It's going to be a great battle. But you started 13th here. You led 56 laps, and you come home the winner in a very dramatic finish. So go celebrate, and we will catch up with you in that championship round next week.
Hey, Adam, appreciate it very much. Thanks for the broadcast. It's always awesome to go back and watch. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. And that was your winner here tonight, Eric Wineland. A heck of a battle. And he comes out on top. Let's go to second place finisher tonight, Spencer Tart. Let's see if he is in here. Spencer Tart, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Spencer, you gave it your best shot. Took 2 tires there at the end. And how hard were you fighting with that race car to try and keep it out front?
Yeah, I mean, it was super loose. I was pedaling it the entire, however many laps it was. I mean, it was really tough to hang on to, but I don't know. I never felt like we had the speed throughout the race to beat him straight up, so we had to try something a little bit different.
Yeah, you were kind of a 3rd to 5th place car from what I could see throughout the broadcast. So, I mean, definitely a fast race car in general. And, how did your race kind of go for you overall? We had a lot of cautions in the middle. Did that kind of shake things up for you?
I don't know. I tagged the wall a little early in the race, so I wanted to go back there just to make sure, get it all fixed. That way I wasn't tearing up the right front tire. And then we had to drive through the field. There's a couple of close calls, but, I mean, besides that, I don't think it would have made how much of a difference it would have made. The car was definitely set up for the long run, so maybe it would have helped, but I don't know.
Yeah, we saw that you were able to get up there and start challenging those guys. And even on the start of some of those later runs, you were right there hanging with them longer than almost anyone else we had seen. So obviously, some pretty good work there at the RCR shop. And we head to Homestead next week for the final round. What are your thoughts on going out there?
Yeah, I've always been a pretty big fan of Homestead. With this new package, it should be a little bit different. Hopefully the top comes in like it did last year, but I'm not really sure. It's going to be tough keeping up with the car all night as the sun goes down, so we'll see.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can do out there. Your teammate, Alex Pelican, going to be fighting for a win there. So how much are you guys going to be, working together to get him that championship?
Obviously, him getting the championship is number one priority. If we can go out there and finish 1-2, that's the way to do it. But yeah, him winning the championship's number one priority.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see what he can do to compete, but also yourself. You've been very strong here throughout this latter half of the season. Maybe not quite the finishes that you're expecting each week, but tonight you do get a solid run here, 2nd place. You led 9 laps. One of the few drivers to take the lead away from either of those guys who were out front, but started all the way back in 14th, finished 2nd. Anybody you want to give a quick shout out to that made this race possible?
Yeah, I got to thank all the guys over at RCR helping me out all season. I appreciate it. The entire league for putting this on, all the sponsors, Rapid Fire Pizza, and Shorba's iRacing paints. I got to thank S2R, my other actual racing team, and everybody over there. Thank you for helping me out.
Awesome, Spencer. Well, great run here tonight. Just coming up a little bit short, but a great effort, and definitely something to be confident in here moving forward. But go celebrate, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you.
That was your 2nd place finisher, Spencer Tart. Let's go to 3rd place finisher, Christopher White. Christopher White, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Adam, how's it going?
Good. And a very solid race for you here tonight. Started in 5th. You come home on the podium here, taking it away, I think, in those last couple laps. But can you give us a quick rundown of how you thought your race went for you here tonight?
Oh, sure. It's finally good to get up here in the top 3 racing with these guys this year. It's been a lot of fun. Phoenix is a awesome track to run. I love the flat surface. Those multiple grooves you can choose to run in, and it was certainly a battle, certainly fierce out there tonight.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the field get strung out for sure, and you were up inside the top 10, I think, for the majority of the race, but a very strong performance here. Um, did you guys work together a lot, throughout the week to get the cars set up for here, or was it kind of, just show up and do the best you can and improve throughout the race? As it seemed like you were pretty consistent here tonight.
Like I said, Phoenix is a awesome track for me. I really like coming here. Very fun to race. Usually run very well here, as long as you can stay out of the wrecks. I didn't really do too much as far as practicing. I did a little bit of practice, and then showed up tonight, did some more practice. The setup I had in the car was pretty solid. Pretty solid on the early go, and it kind of held its own, maintaining pace with the leaders there. I did get caught a lap down, passing under yellow penalty, unfortunately. So we battled back from that, and yeah, third place is pretty strong for us.
Yeah, definitely strong indeed. You didn't quite make it to the front, but you do come home with the podium finish, and we go to Homestead next week for the finale. So what are your thoughts on going out there?
Homestead's a tough track, so we'll see. We'll see what next week brings. You got those 4 guys going there to battle for a championship. Should be an exciting race. Looking forward to it. It'll be the last one I do here in the 32 Ford Mustang next year. Looking forward to that as well. We'll be running the Chevy D01 Camaro, the number 13 for Germain Race.
Awesome, Christopher. Well, great way to start wrapping up this season here with the podium finish. And you've run well throughout the season as well, but really going to cap it off here with a nice solid run and a lot to celebrate here tonight. But anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, certainly appreciate you for what you do up there, broadcasting the series for us. It's fantastic to go back and watch these things. Definitely got to throw a shout out to Rapid Fire Pizza for the sponsoring they do for the series, and got to thank Jacob and all the guys that are out here running. Because it's everybody that shows up and makes these races what it is. So yeah, a lot of fun, and looking forward to next week and finishing off the year with another good finish, hopefully, and then, hey, we'll see what next year brings.
Awesome, Christopher. Well, thanks for the time. Congratulations on the third place run, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that was your third place finisher, Christopher White. And let's go through the rest of our results here. Hopefully, Race Control has some information about who advances here. Not totally sure who the 4th driver is going to be, so maybe we can get a word from them. But let's go to our results here. Your winner here tonight after 11 cautions and 11 lead changes, Eric Wineland started 13th. He takes the victory. Very strong performance, and he is headed to Homestead as a contender for the championship. Spencer Tart comes up a little short, took 2 tires and tried to see if that gamble would pay off, and was fighting that car for the last 2 laps, and Wineland just able to slip on past down the back straightaway on the white flag lap. Christopher White comes home 3rd. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, a nice solid run in 4th. Chris Etcheper going to come home with the top 5. We'll see if that's enough to get him in here to the race at Homestead. Nicholas Starling going to finish in 6th position. Alex Link coming home in the 7th position. Matt Cherry, after kind of a rough start to this race, he comes home with an 8th place run. Chad Ginningsman comes home 9th after starting on the pole, and Justin Carey rounds out the top 10. Not sure if that's going to be enough for him to make it, but we will have to wait and see. In the 11th position, it was Jacob Shorba who got a nice solid finish out of a car that didn't have any front bumper on it. So we'll see if he is able to squeeze in as that 4th contender. Frank Wineset going to come home in 12th here tonight. Brian Pizzakemi, I think, is going to be eliminated, finishing in the 13th position. Rob Jenkins comes home in 14th. Jonathan Hernandez, who ran such a great race here, he's going to come home in 15th. Richard Springer going to come home in 16th. That is, I believe, mixed up on the race results screen here. But Springer 16th, Tim Williams 17th, James Love 18th, Kavaya Holt 19th, and Cody Jordan rounding out the top 10. or top 20. In 21st, Alex Pelican, 22nd, Chris Hansen, 23rd, Dusty Applin, 24th, Chris Hansen, and whoops, those are backwards as well. Ryan Strunk should be in 23rd, 24th should be Chris Hansen, 25th Brandon Andrews, and rounding out the field here Zachary Smith. So a little bit of issue with our scoring at the end here for those guys that were out of the race. But Alex Pelican, you see up there, finished 21st. He is going to be headed to Homestead as well. Didn't matter where he ran tonight, and didn't have the race that I think he even expected, but his teammate, showing strength there, at least came home with the second place, and that's got to be comforting knowing that they do have that speed and they can compete. So either way, Eric Wineland comes home your winner here tonight. We're still waiting on the word from race control to see who that fourth driver is, and I believe it's going to be Jacob Shorba. It looks like it could be Shorba. They are still going through the scoring right now, so we're going to cut quickly to a commercial here for a couple minutes, and we'll be back to see who that fourth contender is. And back to the racetrack. Jacob Shorba is your fourth driver. We're going to be pulling him up for a quick interview here. Jacob Shorba, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy? Well, Jacob, you squeeze in here into the championship round at Homestead. The race did not go the way I'm sure you hoped for tonight, but you're able to advance. So just give us a rundown of how things went and how excited you are moving forward.
Homestead can be anything like Kansas, and I don't make the wrong decision on fuel. I'm excited, but yeah, just really thankful to actually be advancing after all this.
Yeah, and I'm sure it is just a relief. It was definitely a messy race, and your car was absolutely destroyed. You somehow limped it to 11th place, and we've seen that from you that you've been able to run these things out, no matter how bad the car looks or is driving. You still somehow get out of these races with a top 15, and just how important is that mindset week to week? Just get everything you possibly can because every point counts.
It's everything. We once have won the regular season championship, for example. If we didn't do that, that was our whole season, to start this year. And be honest, when we started this league, it was hard to get clean races and have a good group of guys in here. And, we're thinking as we keep going along, it gets better. And we have our flaws, obviously, but we had a lot of races where just something would go wrong and we'd have some kind of damage, just could not go the right place. Always choose like the wrong place to be in the pack. But just staying out on the track, trying to make the right calls and being smart and surviving after that does help, because you do have those guys who get taken out later, people who just leave because they're upset. And tonight, if we had parked, we'd be done. We'd be out of the playoffs. And there's some wrecks at the end we avoided as well, just trying to stay out of all that. If we had been in any of those, we could be sitting on the outside. So it all matters. But to be fair, going into Homestead, surviving the race isn't going to win us a championship. So that mentality has to change, and we have to go win there.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be some tough competition. I mean, you came into the playoffs pretty much red hot with back-to-back wins, but it's been kind of up and down for you. Still able to advance, and just persistence paying off. I think that mindset will have, some impact, no matter how things are going. As that race progresses next week, you're definitely going to be in the mindset of, we're going to get everything we possibly can, no matter the outcome. But yeah, I mean, your competitors are going to be pretty tough competition. Eric and Jonathan up at the front here all race long. So, you think you're going to have enough for them going out there? Are you going to work pretty hard this week to really prepare yourself for that race?
Yeah, definitely going to put in a lot of work this week. I'm really excited for who we have in it. Not just talking about Cup, but talking about National as well. Having Evan win at Texas, I know we were all like screaming in the chat with him, so excited for him. But having him in there and probably working together all week, every single day, building a setup, getting ready, doing everything we can. That expertise he brings and what I can bring, I think we can combine that, and maybe we can go win both of them for Rapid Fired Pizza. But, we'll see.
Yeah, that would definitely be awesome for you guys for sure. And of course, Rapid Fired Pizza, huge sponsor here. And before we let you go, start getting prepared for next week, I guess, for the 11th place run here tonight and your efforts so far this season. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the series sponsor, Ornamental Metals. I want to thank them for coming on board this year and supporting us during our inaugural year. It means a lot. Otherwise, definitely want to thank iRacing iFlag a lot for this season. I was so excited after Indianapolis when we won there, and they said they were going to come on board and sponsor us. And for sponsors to come on and support us means a lot. And we're honestly, part of the reason why we're upset tonight is we're heartbroken we couldn't win a race for them this year. Wanted to do that so bad, but just every week they were on board, we had something happen. It felt like, or really our best chance was Kansas, but just didn't play it right. But we're going to do everything we can to hopefully, if they return next season, get them a win and do everything we can to support them. But really thankful to them, and then my graphics company. We do a lot of work to try to keep the cars looking nice, and put in probably thousands of dollars of work this summer trying to get the first paints made and stuff. But it's been fun, doing all that, and I'm just really thankful for everyone who wants to come in and support us, because ultimately we can't do this without them.
Yes, sir, and you've done a great job so far this season, and it's definitely going to be an exciting conclusion next week, and we're excited to bring it back to the fans here on V-Speed. So, thanks for the time here. Congratulations on advancing, even though not the race you wanted. You're still definitely one of the guys to beat week in and week out, and we look forward to seeing what you can do there. But we'll catch up with you next week at Homestead.
All right, thank you so much, Adam. Really excited.
All right, and that was the fourth contender in the playoffs here, Jacob Shorba. You could hear the excitement, even though he's a little frustrated by tonight's events. He's just happy this season has come to this, where he is in contention and fighting for that championship. But that's going to do it for our race here tonight. Your contenders next week: Eric Wineland, Jonathan Hernandez, Jacob Shorba, and Alex Pelican. Some really, really fast contenders week in and week out. But that's how things went here tonight at ISM, and it was a barn burner at the end. A heck of a battle between these guys, and we are going to be bringing you the action next week for the finale in both the National Series and the Cup Series next weekend, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You won't want to miss those races. It's going to be a heck of a battle, and we look forward to bringing you that action. But we want to thank everybody who tuned in here. We didn't get to shout out the last few follows. Sonic Wave and False Steph, thanks for tuning in here and following and supporting us. Appreciate that so much. We want to also thank the sponsors again, Alpha Ornamental Metals. Their link is in the chat there. Check them out. Give them a like or follow on Facebook and support them in that way. Also, Rapid Fired Pizza. Their link is in the chat there. Thank them so much for everything that they've done this season to allow these leagues to be broadcast here, and we've had a great time bringing them to you. Tonight's race, an incredible finish once again from these guys, and we are going to be back here next week. We'll also be back next Wednesday and Thursday with the Norse Force Racing League, the Valhalla Cup Series, and the Raider SK Modified Series, respectively. So check us out over there, 9 p.m. on Twitch, right here on this channel. And if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast and you didn't like or follow or subscribe, please consider doing so. It really goes a long way to supporting us, and we want to thank everybody who tuned in and supported here tonight. 8 new followers, really great, and thanks for the subscription here tonight as well. You can also find us on YouTube, where we post race replays as well as other interesting content. We're going to be bringing you some automotive repair related content, as well as real world racing content now and then. You can also find us on Facebook, where we post announcements for each and every broadcast throughout the week. So stay up to date with what we're doing over there. And you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter, where we post those same announcements, as well as new merchandise and on-site reporting. So thanks for tuning in here. It's been a great race again tonight, up and down for a lot of these guys, and ultimately I think the guys that we expected to advance are the ones that did. So going to be a heck of a battle next week, and we're going to jump in with one of our favorite streamers here, Fu Mang Shu. So stick around and check out what he's bringing to you. But we will catch you all next week. So have a great night and a great rest of your weekend.